Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Millennium Stadium in Featherstone, where we're here to bring you live uninterrupted commentary of this Betfred Championship round 16 clash between Featherstone Rovers and Barrow Raiders. A big game for both sides in the context of their season, and both teams coming into the game in relatively good form, winning 2 out of their last 3 games respectively, but Featherstone coming off a disappointing defeat to York Knights last time out, whilst Barrow are flying high after a big upset win at home against the Bradford Bulls last week. And Featherstone, as I mentioned, their season, it's a big game for them, who sit just 1 point outside the playoff places in 8th place. A win today and results going their way could take them into that all-important top 6, while Barrow, they sit 5th at the moment with 3 points clear of Featherstone, and a win for them would help them cement their spot in the 6 and chasing towards and cementing a spot in the top 4. So there's a few team changes as we're just waiting for the two sides to come out. We'll start with Featherstone, who make 3 changes to the side that lost out to York last time out, with Connor Wynn, Brad Day and Nathan Wild all dropping out through injury. But Paul Cook able to recall Daryl Alforts, who plays his first game in the last 3 weeks. King Vuniyayawa comes into the starting side, and Leon Ruan starts in the back row, makes his debut for the club after joining on loan from Hull Kingston Rovers, dual registration. So the Featherstone side line up like this. Caleb Aikins is the fullback, 3-quarter line of Gareth Gale, Josh Hardcastle, James Glover and Daryl Alforts. Ben Reynolds once again partners Ryan Hampshire in the halves. Up front for Featherstone, King Vuniyayawa, Will Jubb and Jimmy Beckett, Leon Ruan and Clay Webb in the back row. Danny Addy captains the side at loose forward. Gadwin Springer drops to the bench this afternoon alongside Connor Jones, Sitaleki Akawala and Pat Moran. Robson Stevens is Rovers' 18th man. Well, Barrow, they just make 2 changes to the side that triumphed over Bradford last week at home, with Josh Wood and Brad Walker dropping out of the match day 17. Coming in for Paul Crary, Finn McMillan, who starts at loose forward, and Aidan Doolan on the bench, who joins Barrow on loan from Warrington this week. So Barrow line up like this. Luke Cresswell is the fullback, 3-quarter line of T. Ritson, Curtis Tier, Luke Broadbent and Shane Toll. Alex Bishop partners Ryan Johnston in the halves. Up front for Barrow, Tom Walker, Aaron Smith, who's elevated into the starting side, starts at hooker, alongside Joe Bullock on loan from Salford, with Ellis Robson, Matty Costello and Finn McMillan rounding off the starting side. On the bench for the visitors, Ramon Silva, Charlie Elmsley, Aidan Doolan and Ryan Brown. Ryan Shaw is Barrow's 18th man. And a little bit of history between the two sides. This is the 99th meeting between Featherstone and Barrow. Featherstone enjoying the lion's share of wins with 58 compared to Barrow's 39. And interestingly, a stat for you which may bode well for Featherstone today. Featherstone haven't lost to Barrow since June 2019, of course, coming out 30 points to 12 winners over Barrow in Cumbria just 5 weeks ago. So Featherstone looking to complete the regular season double over Barrow. But Barrow certainly no slouches and have taken some big scalps this year, notoriously difficult to beat. Featherstone will have their work cut out for them, but it's been a resurgent last 6 weeks or so for Featherstone, and are very much in the mix for the playoff picture. And they'll be looking for an improved performance, as I said, going down 30 points to 6 eventually to York Knights last week. And Paul Cook will be looking for his side to bounce back. It's an overcast but warm afternoon here in West Yorkshire, as we're just awaiting the arrival of the two sides. A healthy crowd in to support Featherstone. It's a big game, sitting just outside those playoff places in terms of competition points. And with 10 games of the regular season to go, Featherstone need to start making a charge up that table, but it's very congested in the championship table at the moment. Very little space between everybody sitting around 4th through to sort of 9th place. There's very, very little to choose. 1 or 2 wins can skyrocket you up the table. Back-to-back losses see you falling out of the mix for the playoffs, which is ultimately what Featherstone want. And a tough opponent, as I mentioned, this afternoon with Barrow. Got plenty of high-quality experience in their lineup. T. Ritson, of course, on loan from St Helens. Joe Bullock on the books at Salford. Matty Costello, Aaron Smith, with plenty of past Super League experience. And be interesting to see how Aidan Doolan, the young hooker from Warrington, goes off the bench in his first appearance for Barrow. But equally, we'll be excited to see how Leon Ruan goes, highly touted youngster at Hull Kingston Rovers, who are flying high. And he takes his place in Featherstone's lineup this afternoon for his first taste of action in the championship. The man in the middle for this game is Scott Michalauskas. I think we'll be seeing the two teams come out onto the field very shortly. The rain just about holding off at the moment. We have had heavy rain in the lead up to this game, but dry conditions at the moment. You're listening live on FRTV. Can Featherstone bounce back from defeat and make a charge for the playoffs here in the championship? As I say, results go their way, and a win today could see them elevated into that top six, which is what Paul Cook and his side are striving for. Barrow have the benefit of already being entrenched in that top six and are looking to kick on and really sort of push for the top four spot. As the two sides come out onto the field, Featherstone in their home strip, predominantly navy blue and white, Barrow in their change strip of navy and green. As the two sides just line up for the customary pre-shot photos, pre-game photos I should say. We're almost ready to get this game underway. So here we go, the stage is set, the players are ready. It looks like Featherstone will be attacking from left to right as we see it in the first half, coming down the slight hill. And it will be Barrow who have first use of possession here. So here we have it, Betfred Championship round 16 action, live on FRTV. Featherstone Rovers versus Barrow Raiders. Who comes out on top in this one? The next 80 minutes will tell us. Ball is on the tee. The referee blows his whistle and Ryan Hampshire puts boot to ball. The ball is taken on that try line by Bishop, who hands it on to Bullock, who gets the first carry of the game. Featherstone straight in defensively, and Bullock put on his back just shy of the Barrow 20. Smith at acting half to Costello. Costello just looking for some space through the middle, but not forthcoming. Danny Addy down low with the tackle, Beckett over the top. Here comes Walker, wrestled backwards there by Vuniyawa, helped out by Jubb. 3 tackles gone, Barrow just over their own 30. Big carry coming in from McMillan, but good shot over the top of the ball there from Vuniyawa and Beckett. Ball comes out to Bishop, they're going to kick early here, Barrow. Puts it down behind Alfords, takes a couple of bounces and cut off by Alfords. He's missed the last 2, of course, back into the lineup this afternoon. And he's tackled just outside the Featherstone 20. Short side play here and a quick play of the ball for Glover, who's made a big impact in the last 3 or 4 games since joining the club. Plays it quickly. They're scampering down that short side now through Akins, who was caught high there, and the referee obliges with the penalty. So a good enterprising start from Featherstone, who just looked to catch Barrow unawares on the short side. 2 plays in a row there, made inroads on that left edge and drawing the penalty from the visitors. So Reynolds will find touch on that far left-hand side. And Featherstone already inside the opening 60 seconds with a huge opportunity to go on the attack. Reynolds finds Hampshire, just hands it on to Vuniyawa, who meets 3 Barrow defenders, but goes over the 30-metre line here, and options left and right for Rovers. They come right. Hampshire at first receiver, digs in. First touch there for Leon Ruan. Goes inside the Barrow 20. He's put to ground, in fact, just outside the 10. Hampshire crabs across field, centre field. It comes out to Reynolds. They're looking good on the left here. A nice pass there for Glover, who just stuttered into the line as he hit the line there, and he was tackled well by Bishop. Plays it on the 10. Back in field it comes. Reynolds drops off Addy. Addy Still searching for his first try of the championship season. He takes it to within 5 of the Barrow line. 10 metres to the left-hand side of the post. They'll come open side on the right. Reynolds, first receiver again. Short pass for Vuniyayawa. He's going to try and reach for the line there, and he goes down a metre short. Desperate defence from Barrow. Last one. They come right again. Hampshire digs into the line. Now it comes to Hardcastle. Puts it on the ground, and that's well taken. In fact, it's not taken by Barrow. And Gareth Gale picks up the scraps and scores. And it's the perfect start for Featherstone Rovers. There's a nice little deft kick from Hardcastle behind the line. Toll looked to have had it cleaned up, fell to the ground. The ball popped up, and Gale was there on the spot to touch it down in that right corner. And inside the opening couple of minutes here, Featherstone have the early lead. It's Featherstone Rovers 4, Barrow Raiders 0. And Gareth Gale's 7th try of the season. He probably won't score too many easier than that. Like I said, the ball just popped up for him there. But he did well. He was in the right position, chasing the kick just in case, jumped on it, and scores the opening try of the game. What a start it's been from Featherstone. They said it was a commanding set, the opening 3 tackles before getting the penalty, and they tested Barrow on the left and the right, and eventually bringing them undone on the last play there. Josh Hardcastle, so much utility, such a skill set. Dribbled that deft kick in. And Gale did the rest. And Reynolds now with an opportunity to extend the lead. Very, very tight to this right touchline. He's taken it back a fair way. Can he add the 2 here, Reynolds? Moves in. He's given it a good strike. He guides the ball between the posts. He has converted the Gareth Gale early score, his 50th goal of the season so far for Featherstone. And more importantly, brings up the scoreline of Featherstone Rovers 6, Barrow 0. Get the game back underway. An awkward bounce, but cut off by Webb there. Crabs across field, and he's put to ground on the Barrow, the Featherstone 20, I beg your pardon. And Featherstone, Paul Cook will be looking for a good set after points here. Often the most important job after scoring. Alfords plays the ball. Jubb comes right to Addy. Been busy early, Danny Addy, as he often is. Leading from the front, takes the ball over the 30. It's put to ground by Johnston. Jubb. Leon Ruan just overrunning that slightly. So Jubb takes it himself to 5 short of the halfway line. Aikins. Aikins, nice little footwork to Beckett, who just put the ball down, and there was a break in the offering, and instead Barrow are on the counter-attack here as Costello dummies his way through the line, gives it out to Ritson. Now then Ritson has a bit of pace, but people have come across there. Featherstone plenty of defenders to bring him down. And James Glover's been left in back play here, so Featherstone currently defending with 12 men. They've just come in to make a cover tackle there and left on the ground as they come forward through Bullock. Good shot in the ribs there from Vuniyayawa. 20 metres out now, Barrow. Johnston. Short pass there for Tia, put on the ground. A good tackle by Hardcastle, in from his edge. 10 metres out now, Barrow. Smith. Is it on to Walker? Walker bounces away from one. And he's beaten his man there, the loose forward, McMillan, who skips out of a tackle and scores to the right-hand side of the post. And just as it looked 30 seconds earlier, like Featherstone were setting up a break to make an attacking play downfield, the ball was turned over. Barrow snapped it up. And looks like Featherstone's lead will only have lasted a matter of minutes as Finn McMillan gets the try to open Barrow's account this afternoon. And with inside the opening 5 minutes, it's now Featherstone Rovers 6, Barrow Raiders 4. And more worryingly, James Glover still on the ground here for Featherstone, which certainly concerning. It's a lower leg injury. Looks like they're testing the knee over here, the physios, which is never good to see. He's back up on his feet as Johnston has the ball on the tee for Barrow to try and lock up the scores here. It's just to the left-hand side of the post, so you'd imagine he'll have little trouble in doing so, and he doesn't. Brings the score to Featherstone 6, Barrow 6. And Glover still on the field here. He's getting some running repairs. The physio doing some strapping, but looks like he's going to be at least attempting to play on here for now. It was difficult to see live what happened. He'd come infield following the mistake to try and wrap up the breakaway downfield for Barrow and just left him back play, as I mentioned. I don't know if there was any contact involved, but certainly moving quite gingerly at the moment. It'd be interesting if he isn't able to continue, what the reshuffle will be for Featherstone, but at the moment he's ready to take his place on that left edge for Featherstone. Right knee strapped up. We'll monitor his progress over the next few sets as Hampshire gets the game back underway. It's a long kick-off coming downfield, taken in the in-goal area well by Bishop, who hands it on to Bullock. Bullock into the teeth of the Featherstone defence, and a good welcoming committee stops him getting over that 10-metre line. Webb, chief tackler there. Costello. He's put to ground. Good opening 2 tackles from Featherstone. Barrow still within their own 10. Here's the try scorer, McMillan. Good uncompromising shot there from Beckett and Jubb. This is good defence from Featherstone. Forward they come through Walker, whose offload supplied the try there for Barrow. 4 tackles gone just outside their 20 here, the visitors. And wrapped up on the 5th, just outside the 30, was Robson. Johnston doing the kicking on the last. Big boot on him, but taken on the full by Aikins. And Aikins has a little bit of room to wind up here and will be brought to ground 35 metres away from his own line. So a good response defensively from Featherstone there after conceding their first points of the afternoon. Alfords. Forward he comes up and over the 40. Reynolds. Dummies inside and straighten the attack. The Barrow defence was alert to it. Costello putting him to ground. Having a second go on there, but the referee ruling play on. Vuniyayawa takes the pass from Addy, but immediately swarmed by 2 Barrow defenders. 40 metres away from the line now. Webb takes the pass inside, and he's put to ground 30 out now from Barrow's line. This will be the last one for Featherstone. They go short side on the left. Reynolds at first receiver puts the kick up. This will be a testing one for Cresswell. He gets off the ground and takes it well, and he's deemed to have done so in the in-goal area, so that will be a 20-metre restart and a 7-tackle set. And although a disappointing end to the set there for Featherstone, crucially it looks like James Glover is moving a bit more freely. He was chasing that kick for all it was worth as Ritson takes a carry, just stumbles as he got to the line there, which took the impetus out of his run. He was easy meat for Jubb. Big shot coming in on from Vuniyayawa on tier there, but plays it quickly. Cresswell just trying to pinch a few metres through the middle. Couple of tackles left for Barrow, 5 short of halfway. Broadbent stutters and steps into the line. Vuniyayawa getting through plenty of defensive work early as Barrow get over the halfway line. Walker, ball playing in the middle. Johnston loops the ball over the top to Toll. The defence has come across quickly there. Hampshire does enough to put him to ground, and this will be the last one for Barrow. They're going to kick from 40 out. It's a ricochet off the Featherstone man. It wasn't the best kick from Johnston, and Barrow turned over the ball, but Hardcastle now the big carry up and over the 40 on just the second play. Johnston not happy with that. He thought that there was an offside there from Featherstone. But they go on with it through Gale. Featherstone's try scorer. Score remains Featherstone 6, Barrow 6. Like about 10 minutes of the game gone here at the Millennium Stadium as Alfords driven backwards with a trio of green jerseys. Jubb skips out of dummy half, pinches the best part of 10 metres on that carry before he's eventually put away by Smith. This will be the last one. They're going to kick from 40 out. Hampshire this time doing the kicking, puts it high. Testing one for Cresswell right on the wing there, and he's immediately enveloped by Glover. That was a great chase. And Featherstone have turned the ball over just where they want. Barrow coming out of their own corner with Broadbent, difficult carry. Put to ground there by Addy. Ritson, big dummy, picks up 5 metres or so. The 3 tackles gone, Barrow still within their own 20. So Featherstone doing a great job defensively in the last few sets to restrict Barrow's metres. As Toll tries to get them going forward. Plays it just the right side of the 20. Robson. He's put on the ground shy of the 30. This will be the last one. Kicking from deep again here, Barrow. Johnston gets plenty on it. He's taken on the full there on the 30 by Alford. So he's got a little bit of space to run back at the line, and he's met by Bullock, but not before he's got up to the Featherstone 40 on the first tackle. So just shading the territory at the moment, Featherstone, but nothing to choose between the two sides on the scoreboards. 6 apiece. Addy gives it on to Hardcastle. Hardcastle with a no-nonsense carry. He's taken to the ground there by Smith, and Tier comes in to finish off the tackle. Featherstone will play it a metre into Barrow's half. Reynolds gives it to Addy. Addy just brought to ground there, and a good tackle from Bullock. Jubb plays it quickly. Aikens, little bit of room to move now for the fullback. Dumps the ball out the back, takes one bounce for Jubb. Jubb is wrapped up there by Smith. And that will be the last one for Featherstone. Reynolds puts it high in the air again. Another testing one for Cresswell. Gets off the ground and takes it well. And Glover timed his run, or he thought he'd timed it just right. And in the end, he arrived a fraction of a second too late, according to the referee. Scott Michalowska said he's penalised for the tackle in the air. There have only been millimetres in that before the Barrow man's feet hit the ground. And a relieving penalty for Barrow, it has to be said, who in the last 5 minutes have really struggled to get out their own end of the field. But a penalty such as that would be a frustrating one for coach Paul Cook. And off the restart, Barrow through Bullock. We're already 5 short of halfway on just the first tackle. Walker, 5 metres over the halfway line. Barrow play it. McMillan comes through. Inside the 40 now. Smith out to Bullock, out to Johnston, kicks early behind the line. He's got chasers in behind. This is going to be a nice bounce for Tier. Tier is going to find an offload there for Toll. What a tackle that is from Josh Hardcastle, a try saver. The kick from Johnston was a beauty. It bounced up for Curtis Tier. The scramble defence was excellent. He managed to find the offload for Toll, who was immediately hit by Josh Hardcastle, forcing the ball free and saved a certain try there. And that's the sort of stuff that the coach is happy with, the efforts, the little efforts there to deny your team's scoring opportunity. And what a play that was from Hardcastle and Caleb Aikens on the previous play as well. And now Featherstone back on the attack inside the Barrow half as Jubb goes sniping through the middle, plays it 30 out from the Barrow line. They're going backwards here, Barrow, and it's a great piece of play. Reynolds has done his way through. Can he beat the fullback? He couldn't quite get round him. Cresswell did just enough to knock him off his feet. 5 metres out. Addy plays it for Hampshire. Hampshire looking for the kick out wide, looking for the tall figure of Gale. It's over the top. He couldn't quite get it over the top of Toll's head. But the next best thing with Gale dragging him back into the in-goal area and a goal line dropout coming up for Featherstone. Real end-to-end stuff here at the Millennium Stadium in the last few minutes. A certain try denied by Featherstone's defence at one end. Featherstone going really close to scoring down the other end. This time denied by Shane Toll. But concedes another set of 6 here. Barrow just composing themselves. It's a big kick coming down. It's beaten the Featherstone players there, and Beckett's got to go back for it. Best part of 65 metres, and takes a big carry up, and he will play the ball. In fact, he's driven back a couple of metres into his own half, so a good result for Barrow, all things considered, as Addy, shaped to give it right, just takes it himself and makes 10 metres on that play. Score remains Featherstone 6, Barrow 6, listening on FRTV. 15 minutes of the game gone.
Featherstone come forward again. Hampshire digs into the line. Lovely play for Aikens to Hardcastle. Hardcastle just straightens the attack. Probably the right decision. He was just running out of room on this right edge. Barrow had got defenders in the picture. Gale plays it. Passes the ball in for Hampshire. Out it comes to Vuniyayawa. At pace, Vuniyayawa's going to be hard to stop. He's trying to get his arm free. Finds the offload for Jubb. Jubb will score to the right-hand side of the posts. And Featherstone get their second score of the game and retake the lead. Fantastic play it was. Vuniyayawa hit the ball at pace, skittled defenders, and just like when it looked like he was wrapped up in the shadow of the post, found the offload. It was taken on the bounce by Will Jubb, who dots down to the right-hand side of the post and takes the scoreline now to Featherstone Rovers 10, Barrow Raiders 6.
Really good play from Featherstone, and a big passage of play in the last few minutes. They say they saved a try at one end and then were good enough to go all the way downfield on a big dominant attacking set, force the repeat set with a dropout, and then again testing Barrow on the right before coming back through the centre, finding the hole and scoring the try through Will Jubb, who gets his third for Featherstone this year in 22 matches in Featherstone colours. Been a really good solid signing for Featherstone in the middle, defensively so sound and on the spot there to convert the opportunity into a try. And Reynolds now with a conversion attempt from just to the right hand side of the post to put Featherstone's lead back out to 6 points, which he does so. Scoreline now, Featherstone Rovers 12, Barrow Raiders 6. What a game this has been so far. End-to-end action. Both sides producing some expansive attacking play. Featherstone in the ascendancy as we approach the midpoint of the first half. As the game gets back underway, Alford takes it, gives it to Vuniyayawa, who created that try through robust defence and able to get the arm free, and he plays it 20 metres from his own line, or will play it eventually rather. Jubb, the try scorer, acting half, gives it to Alford. Alford, no nonsense carry through the middle up to the 30. The run now for Addy, almost got through the line. Desperate tackle coming in from Walker to halt his progress. They come forward again here against a retreating defence. Beckett, the best part of 20 metres. These are big carries from the middle unit of Featherstone up and over the halfway line. Reynolds digs into the line, gives it to Webb. Webb has the defence going backwards, but they just regroup through Costello and Ritson in there to help out. 20 metres away from the line, an 80-metre set on the last here. Featherstone, out it comes to Hampshire. Hampshire, flat pass there for Ruan. And Ruan is taken 15 metres away from the line. And Featherstone won't mind that. That was a decent set after points from Paul Cook's side. And they turn the ball over 15 metres away from the Barrow line. And really notable, the momentum they had coming forward there, the Barrow defence retreating all the way through that set, as was the physical dominance from Featherstone. And Barrow just looking to get upfield here, and they go to the bench for the first time this afternoon. Charlie Emsley onto the field, replacing Finn McMillan. Featherstone yet to make a change. And there's a Barrow man injured here. It's Ritson, I think it is, who's not got up off the back of that carry. He's just receiving some attention from the trainer. We'll just take a brief pause here while Ritson gets some treatment. Just to recap, Featherstone got off to the perfect start with Gaz Gale scoring in the right corner after just 2 minutes. Ben Reynolds converted to make it 6-0 before Finn McMillan crashed over for Barrow. Just
A set later, after a mistake in the middle of the field from Featherstone, Ryan Johnston converted to make it 6 apiece, and then in the last couple of minutes, Will Jubb darting over from close range, following a King Vuniyayawa offload close to the line, and Reynolds converting 2 from 2 from the Featherstone standoff to give a scoreline of Featherstone 12, Barrow 6. We're about 20 minutes of the game gone here as Ritson is back on his feet. And again, looks okay to carry on, and he will play it eventually 30 metres away from the Barrow line, middle of the tackle count. Emsley with his first carry. Good shot down low there from Jubb. A bit of an awkward looking one, but he bounces back to his feet. Bullock. Good contact coming in again from Vuniyayawa, but he finds an offload, and they're straight on Emsley there to close down the play. In fact, it was Aaron Smith as Bishop kicks early again behind the line, takes one bounce, cut off on the 10 there by Akins. Akins now content to go to ground on his 20. Reynolds gives it to Alforts. Alforts with a real appetite for work here on those play 2-3 carries up towards the 30. Glover, good to see him looking a bit more comfortable after that scare with a knee injury. He's still on the field, and he's being driven backwards here though by the Barrow defence, but plays it quickly for Jubb, who skips out of acting half and just takes it forward, 5 short of the halfway line now. Couple of tackles still in the bag for Featherstone. Vuniyayawa, first receiver, shaped to give it out wide, kept hold of it himself, took a couple of defenders with him, and that will be the last. He'll play it a metre short of halfway. It comes out to Hampshire, doing the kicking under a little bit of pressure. Punted that one sideways, and that's gone out on the full. And it's probably a testament to the kick pressure Barrow were able to affect there. They had 3 defenders coming at Hampshire. It's probably, in hindsight, a little bit too close to the ruck. And he mishit that one. Sailed out on the full, and Barrow will have the turnover on more or less the halfway line. As Aidan Doolan is on the field now for the visitors for his Barrow debut, joining the club on loan until the end of the season from Warrington. And he's straight into the action. Costello driven backwards. He's lost the ball there, Costello. And Featherstone have dived on the ball, and the referee just waves play on. So Barrow turning it over immediately after getting the result. And Addy dummies his way through the line. Great carry from the Featherstone skipper. Up inside the Barrow 40 now. Jubb to Reynolds. Out it comes to Akins. Akins out to Glover. Glover skips away from defenders and is eventually wrapped up there by Broadbent on that far side. With help from Doolan. Reynolds passes it back in for Addy. Addy just dumps it off now to Beckett this time. Beckett coming back through the middle, put on his back 30 metres away from the line. Springer's onto the field and into the action here. It goes out the back, in fact, to Hampshire. Out to Akins. Akins with a little bit of room to move. Good tackle on the inside there from Walker. Featherstone 10 metres away, still tackles to come. Hampshire, first receiver, chips the ball in behind the line, looking for Reynolds. It's a beautiful bounce, and Reynolds scores the try. Featherstone's 3rd score of the game. The referee points to the spot and awards it, and brilliant invention and a brilliant combination there from the Featherstone half-backs. Ryan Hampshire with the dink, the chip was perfectly weighted in behind the line, and the bounce was excellent into the arms of Reynolds, who touches down to the left-hand side of the post and extends Featherstone's lead to a 2-score advantage. It's now Featherstone Rovers 16, Barrow Raiders 6. And Featherstone have been physical, they've been direct in this first half, punching holes in the Barrow defence. This time it was a bit of brilliance off the boot from Ryan Hampshire for his half-back partner. A little bit of a set play and well executed. Difficult things to do. The ball bounced up perfectly for Reynolds, who takes full advantage and scores. And has the opportunity now to convert his own try. Guides the ball between the posts. 3 from 3 this afternoon from the Featherstone standoff. For the scoreline now, Featherstone Rovers 18, Barrow Raiders 6. 25 minutes of the game gone here. that one was Ben Reynolds' third try of the season. So missed a chunk of the season early with an injury, but stringing some games together, and a really good moment for the Featherstone halfback. 12 points to the good now, Featherstone. There's a short kick-off coming from Johnston, who's drilled it well, and it's kicked and beaten everybody into touch. And that was a bit of invention from the kicking tee from Barrow. Just drilled it. It was an awkward bounce. It bounced over Reynolds and then over Webb. And Barrow will get the ball back here and get an opportunity to go straight back on the attack. Doolan finds Silver, who's back onto the field now. Paul Crary making a raft of changes through the middle. Silver driven backwards in the tackle of Addy, 20 metres away from the line now. Doolan onto Robson, and a penalty given against Featherstone inside the 10. And that just invites more pressure on their line here. Be a good test of Featherstone's defensive line. Barrow have not had very many opportunities at this end of the field. Featherstone will be keen to turn them away. Tap restart off the penalty. Ryan Brown now on the field. Takes it inside the Featherstone 10. Plays it bang in front of the uprights. Doolan fires the pass out to Bishop, who's absolutely monstered there in a great tackle from Springer. Flew out of the line to pick off the halfback. He plays it quickly though for Brown. Brown just straightens it up, runs into Beckett, still going forward Brown, and he's put on the ground a metre away from the Featherstone line here. Doolan, out it comes to Johnston. Johnston out to Cresswell. Cresswell loses the ball under pressure, and Leon Ruan's away, and he's got up to the 30-metre line before being cut down by the chasing Barrow defence. Great defence on show from Featherstone once again, who go to the bench again with Connor Jones, who's on for his 150th career appearance in the UK. And he gives it to Springer, who just marauds up to just short of the halfway line. Akawala, Sitaleki Akawala also onto the field, who's straight into the action now and up and over the halfway line with that Route 1 carry, making the best part of 15, 16 metres with the ball there. He replaces Jimmy Beckett, so a like for like in terms of replacing the front row from both coaches. Ruan almost poked his nose through the line there. Johnston did just enough to pull him down. 30 metres away from the Barrow line. Addy straightens, gives it to Reynolds. Reynolds double pumps, eventually gives it to Webb. Bishop was waiting for him and put him on the ground 10 metres out. Last tackle. Open side they come. Addy back through the middle of the field looking for some space. He's going to beat everybody as he had a flick pass over the top to Webb. What a pass that was from Danny Addy, and Clay Webb the recipient. Absolutely sensational play from the Featherstone captain. Came off his right foot, he weaved across the field, looked like he created the half the gap himself, and as he was ankle tap going to the line, just flicked the pass around the corner over the top to Clay Webb, who dives in untouched on the left edge. Featherstone's fourth try of the game as we approach the half-hour mark, and Featherstone are in total control of this one. They lead Barrow by 22 points to 6. Clay Webb getting his 7th try for Featherstone this season, just pushing through in support there after brilliant play from his skipper. And really cementing and underlining Featherstone's dominance in the last 15 minutes or so. Really taking this game by the scruff of the neck. And well worth this 3-score lead. And Barrow look a little bit shell-shocked behind their try line. And they only have themselves to blame in one sense. They got a rare attacking opportunity at the other end of the field and turned the ball over on just the second tackle. And Featherstone didn't need a second invitation. They worked their way down the field through some robust carries. Ruan, particular 2 half breaks from him, set the platform. And then on the last tackle, just caught them napping on that blind side. Addy providing the space, and Webb taking the pass to score as Reynolds looks to guide the ball between the sticks. He does so once again from that far left touchline. 4 from 4 from the Featherstone 6 this afternoon, and 12 points individually for him. Takes the scoreline now to Featherstone Rovers 24, Barrow Raiders 6. With half an hour of the game gone here. Been one of Featherstone's most commanding first halves of the season so far. The kick-off bounces again, but this time taken by Alford and given to Springer, who bends the line once again up to the 20. And this has been a recurring theme so far. Featherstone just running harder, running with more venom and energy at the moment than Barrow can handle. And got the Cumbrians going backwards. Akawala again, taking defenders with him up to the 40-metre line. This is really strong stuff from Featherstone, who are in a mood this afternoon. Ruan is put to ground there. He was just receiving some treatment in back play after that try had been scored. He's struggling with his shoulder. And he just clutches to it again there. And speaking to the physio, and the offload comes now out the tackle. It's a great ball from Jones to Akins. Akins into the backfield now. There's defenders all around him. Just managed to hold on to their man. 10 metres out now. Comes for Reynolds, digs into the line. It's Webb looking for a quick fire second. He's picked up and tackled there. And Barrow doing just enough to scramble to keep their line from being crossed for a 5th time. And while that was happening, Leon Ruan, making his debut for Featherstone on dual reg from Hull Kingston Rovers, has been removed from the field here. He's been replaced by Pat Moran, so it looks like an injury there. It looked like a shoulder problem. Who took that carry, didn't look at all comfortable, immediately pointed to the physio and has been withdrawn from the game as Ritson again is down on the ground. He's in the wars as well. As the game is stopped again, Ritson holding at a shoulder this time and looking like he's going to have to come off. The physio pointing to the sideline. A few players and stoppages for players getting knocks here. We've just seen Leon Ruan going off, and then it looks like Ritson's going to follow suit for Barrow here. Should be a blow for them as well, an integral part of their back line. £24 points to 6, Featherstone lead. Late in this first half, you're listening on FRTV. Tries from Gareth Gale, Will Jubb, Ben Reynolds and Clay Webb, all converted by Ben Reynolds. But just a Finn McMillan try, converted try for Barrow in response so far, has Featherstone on the scoreboard and in the contest in complete control as we approach half-time. In fact, Ritson is going to carry on here. The physio immediately pointed to the bench as if he was going to come off, but he is refusing to go off and is taking his place back on the wing, plays it, and the game gets back underway. Glover straight into the defensive work there. Silva going backwards, really hunting them defensively at the moment. The offload came from Silva, but immediately went to Anthony. Pass comes out again. Johnston fires the ball out to Tia. Tia trying to go down this left edge, cuts in field, looking for space, beats Springer. Good tackle down low from Akawala, and Barrow manufacturing 20 metres upfield. Doolan gives it to Silva. Silva just puts the head down, pokes the nose through the line. Offload, untidy for Doolan, who has Jones in attendance. Hardcastle and Hampshire in there to help out, and he's still going forward, but then eventually driven into the ground on the halfway line by the Featherstone defence. Johnston. Low trajectory kick along the ground here, looking to try and find touch and does so. Just wants to take a little bit of a pace off the game here and allow his players to get their breath back. It's been end-to-end stuff and lung-busting defensive work for Barrow, as Featherstone have been relentless so far in this first half. Really impressive stuff. Five minutes till half-time. Game back underway. Moran, who continues his loan spell from Oldham, plays it on the 30. Alford against a retreating defensive line again from Barrow. There's just so much space for Featherstone to exploit, and they're having a day out at the moment, and they concede a penalty now, Barrow, as Ritson does now come from the field. He tried to play on, but is eventually brought off the field, and Walker goes back on, so there's going to be a bit of a reshuffle on that edge for Barrow. You think Costello moves to centre, Broadbent onto the wing, which is how they're lining up. And Hampshire will find the kick to touch on this near side, and Featherstone, with the wind in their sails, will have an attacking set starting 25 out, already leading by 24 points to 6. Can they get another score before half-time? Springer, big carry, first up off the tap restart. Plays the ball 10 metres out. They come left. Moran onto Akawala. Akawala's met by Emsley, but trying to get his arm free. There's 4 Barrow defenders around him. Plays it 5 away from the line. Slow play the ball. Pass comes out to Hampshire. Hampshire dummies to drop it off, gives it out to Aikens. There's 2-on-1 here, but Aikens cuts back in field. And the Barrow defence, in fairness, had regrouped well on the inside to close down that danger. Tackle still to come, though. 5 metres out. Hampshire skips across the middle of the field. Fires the pass out to Reynolds. Reynolds into Glover. There's space out wide. Glover's just going to accelerate and score himself. And it's a procession here in the first half for Featherstone, who get their 5th try of the opening 40, and it was just slick hands again from right to left. Long ball out from Hampshire to Reynolds, who fired the pass out to Glover, who looked like his afternoon was over after just 5 minutes. But he's back in the game and touches down on that left edge, just accelerated around his man. There was nothing Costello could do. Takes the scoreline now on the brink of half-time to Featherstone Rovers 28, Barrow Raiders 6. And Glover, having just joined the club a few weeks ago, getting his 5th try in Featherstone colours, and turning into a real handy acquisition on that left edge for Featherstone. And Paul Cook will be simply delighted with what he's seen from his side so far in this game. In total control, 5 tries to 1. And a healthy Millennium Stadium crowd are up on their feet, been treated to some really, really good rugby league this afternoon. And Barrow, quite frankly, have no answers at the moment. James Glover, 5 tries in just 6 matches in Featherstone colours. Can't say fairer than that in terms of a strike rate. As Reynolds, in a similar position to his last one, about a metre in from the left touchline, 22 metres back. It's given it a good nudge, and it hits the post and goes between the sticks. 5 from 5 this afternoon from Ben Reynolds. And Featherstone have hit 30 points in the first half. They lead Barrow by 30 points to 6. That's just the second time that Featherstone have hit 30 points in the first half in the championship. And interestingly enough, the previous time they've done that was back in May this year against Batley. I mentioned it was shaping up to be one of Featherstone's most impressive first halves of the season, and it certainly has been. The kickoff comes now, taken by Aikens. Akawala, like he was fired out of a cannon, comes up and over the 20. The big carry, just making so many metres after contact, Featherstone. Barrow eventually getting going backwards, but that's a 25 metre carry from Akawala on just the second tackle. They're already up to just shy of the 40. Gale through the middle now, put to ground by Silver and Doolan. Moran to Springer. Springer bullocking his way up over the halfway line. Easy metres again. Featherstone inside the Barrow half. Moran. Out the ball comes now to Hampshire. Hampshire on to Addy, playing in the right channel now at the moment. 70 metres on the set from Featherstone here. Hampshire digs into the line, just takes it on himself and inside the Barrow 20 now. This will be the last one. Options left and right for Featherstone. Which way will they go? They come left. Reynolds, first receiver. Last tackle, puts the kick up high. Looking to put Broadbent under pressure. Broadbent takes it well on that wing and is immediately put to ground. A metre out from his own try line, a metre in from touch. So the perfect place to turn the ball over and the perfect set after points from Paul Cook's side again. Swarming defence from Featherstone again. Costello plays it. Toll's nowhere to go either. He's wrapped up by Springer. Got away from him and just put to ground by Akawala in the end inside his own 10. Cresswell beats one man, but taken by the bootlaces, and Featherstone give away a penalty for a bit of a flop there from Clay Webb. Just coming into that second effort where it wasn't quite needed, and a relieving penalty for Barrow. Have been under the pump for the vast majority of this first half. And it would be interesting to see what Paul Crary would have to say to his side, who've been absolutely blown off the park in this first half by a very impressive Featherstone side. Featherstone leading by 30 points to 6 as Barrow come forward. Johnston has to die with the ball there, wrapped up by Jones and Hampshire, 5 short of halfway. Silver puts his head down, takes the carry up and a couple of metres into Featherstone territory. Robson takes the pass from Bishop and goes inside the Featherstone 40, I beg your pardon. Walker dummies up and over that 30-metre line now, put to ground by Springer, helped out by Addy. Last tackle for Barrow. Bishop under pressure. It's a hurried kick and taken well by Aikins, who beats the first man but can't get away from the chasers. As the siren sounds for half-time, it brings to the end a thoroughly dominant and impressive opening half from Featherstone, who have been very, very much in the ascendancy from the opening minutes, really. They took the lead after just 2 minutes through a Gareth Gale try before Finn McMillan replied for Barrow to make it 6 apiece. But from that point, the first half completely belonged to Featherstone, who have added 4 more tries to Will Job, Ben Reynolds, Clay Webb and James Glover just a few minutes before half-time. Ben Reynolds perfect 5 from 5 this afternoon with the boot. A fine personal tally for him so far. Takes the scoreline at half-time to 30 points to 6. And Featherstone, easily one of their most impressive displays of the season so far. Paul Cook will be delighted with what he's seen so far, but will be keen to remind his players that the job only half done. And Barrow, you'd imagine, will get some momentum at some point in the game. But Featherstone, everything's gone right for them so far in the first half. Half-time here at the Millennium Stadium. It's Featherstone Rovers 30, Barrow Raiders 6. We'll take a quick break and have all the second half action in a few minutes' time. Hello and welcome back to the Millennium Stadium in Featherstone. We're at half-time in this Betfred Championship round 16 clash between Featherstone Rovers and Barrow Raiders, and Featherstone in complete control, leading Barrow by 30 points to 6 at half-time, thanks to a blistering opening 40 from Paul Cook's side. And Featherstone will have first use of the ball in the second half, attacking from right to left as we see it, as Gadwin Springer takes the opening carry of the half. It was very, very impressive off the bench in that first half. Plays it just shy of the 20. Webb, one of the try scorers. Straight into the action, put on the ground by 3 Barrow defenders. Moran. Up and over that 30-metre line. Comes short side now through Addy, who's operating in that right back row position at the moment with an injury to Leon Rowan in the first half. As Aikins comes forward and up and over the halfway line. It's a good opening set from Featherstone in this second half. Hampshire hoists it high, looking to put Toll under a bit of pressure. Toll takes it, but well wrapped up there by the Featherstone defence. He's taken a little bit of a bang there, Toll. Collapses back to the ground, he plays it. Tier. He's put away 15 out by Josh Hardcastle, who doubles up on the tackle there. They go wide this time. Short pass there for Emsley. What a tackle that is. Up and under the ball carrier there from Ben Reynolds, who gave away plenty of size and just dumped him on his back. Walker coming forward, up and over the 30. Good defensive set from Featherstone here. This will be the last one for Barrow.
kick comes from Johnston. Takes one bounce over the head of Aikens. Aikens just comes back to the line, turns it underneath here for Alford. Alford's trying to fend away from Cresswell. Cresswell comes again and gets his man eventually with help from Emsley and Costello. Gale, who opened the scoring way back in the 2nd minute of the game. He goes down 5 short of halfway. Comes short side to Glover. Moran. Out it comes to Hampshire. Hampshire into the line, gives it to Aikens. Aikens again against that retreating defence, beats his man who just manages to get hold of the shirt there. Johnston did just enough to bring him to ground. Featherstone already 30 metres away from the Barrow line. Hampshire digs into the line, gives it to Reynolds, who took it off the bootlaces, fires the pass out for Glover. It's a 2-on-1. Glover's going to straighten up, get on the outside of his man. He's going to get his 2nd try of the game. And just left Broadbent in his wake, scores in the opening couple of minutes of the 2nd half. His 2nd try, fantastic play once again from Featherstone, who were just on fire in attack. Like I said, they had Barrow's defence going backwards. Ben Reynolds took a pass off his bootlaces and just fired a bullet-like ball onto the chest of Glover, who summed it up perfectly. He had a 2-on-1, he dummied his way and then eventually skipped past Broadbent to score in the corner. His 2nd try of the game. And Glover's 6th try in 6 matches now for Featherstone takes the scoreline to Featherstone Rovers 34, Barrow Raiders 6. And Paul Cook couldn't have asked for a better start to this 2nd half. It's often the case in teams that have a big lead at half-time. It's keeping the foot on the throat, that ruthless edge, not allowing any complacency to creep in, and certainly no signs from it in the opening exchanges here from Featherstone, who just clicked straight back into gear and picked up where they left off at half-time. Reynolds with the conversion attempt here from tight to this left touchline once again. Can he keep the streak alive? Moves in to add the extra 2, and he's guided the ball between the posts once again. 6 from 6 from the boot of Ben Reynolds. And Featherstone have a 30-point advantage. It's Featherstone Rovers 36, Barrow Raiders 6. Just 4 minutes of the 2nd half gone here. Live on FRTV. This win will take, Featherstone are able to close out this win. They will move into the playoff places, with both Doncaster and Halifax losing yesterday. And at the moment, doing it in style. Akawala picks the ball up, carries it like a tennis ball back into the teeth of the Barrow defence. And a little bit more venom in the Barrow tackle there. Emsley and Brown in there to affect the tackle. Alfords. And over the 20 goes Moran. Out it comes now to Addy. Onto Aikens. Aikens dummies through the line. He's through the line here, Caleb Aikens. He's got Hampshire in support. Gives the ball back in field. Cresswell did well to hold his nerve. And Toll came in to affect the tackle, but not before they've got the ball up to the 20. If they can get the ball wide, there's space here. Addy fires the ball out to Reynolds. Out the back it comes to Aikens. Aikens dummies his way through the line. Pops the ball over the top for Alfords, who touches it down. But the pass ruled to have gone forward there, and just not quite getting it right in this left corner this time. Alfords Aikens just held onto the ball a fraction too long, and Barrow survived further embarrassment there. But this attack is absolutely flexing its muscles here from Featherstone. The big shift deep inside their own half. Aikens split into the backfield. As I said, the Barrow back three did well to close that down in the end. And then Aikens just not finding the right pass at the right time there. Alfords touched it down, but the pass correctly ruled forward. And Barrow get the first just the second use of the ball here and get a penalty now. That will be a relieving penalty as Addy protests his innocence to the referee, Scott Mikolauskas, but waves him away, and that will be a relieving touch finder for Barrow. As Johnston finds touch on that far left side, so Barrow will start their set just a few metres short of the halfway line. This is easily their best territory of the second half so far. As the pass comes out to Silva. Silva put to ground. A metre into Featherstone's half. Webb left on the ground in front of him there. Slow play the ball. Doolan fires out to Bishop. Pops the pass there for Emsley. Good tackle on the inside there again from Reynolds. Doolan fires it out to Bishop. Out it comes now to Brown. Brown just takes the carry forward. He almost lost that in the tackle there. Ryan Brown just about kept hold of it. Springer affects the tackle on him. 20 metres away from the line now, Barrow. Walker advances the ball all the way up to just shy of the 10. Going to be a big right shift here. Bishop dummies and is immediately swallowed up there by Akawala, but fires the pass out. It's out to Johnston now. They've got space. Costello trying to go 2-on-1 with his man. Beats Glover and will round it and prod it down near the post. And Barrow simply needed to be the next to score to have any chance in this contest, and they do get just their second try of the game. Said they were going for a big left to right shift. It didn't quite end up that way. Bishop looked to have been caught with the ball. He managed to fire the offload. Doolan fired the pass out to Costello, through Johnston to Costello. Costello got on the outside of his man. Glover was backpedaling, dummied his way through, improved the angle to about 6 metres to the right-hand side of the post. And after about 8 minutes of the second half, Barrow have their first points of the second half. It's now Featherstone Rovers 36, Barrow Raiders 10. So Ryan Johnston with a conversion attempt here from just to the right-hand side of the post. Makes no mistake in converting the try. It's now Featherstone Rovers 36, Barrow Raiders 12. And from a Barrow perspective, gives them a lifeline. As the kickoff comes, once again, Brown. He's got plenty of speed up, and it's a good shot there from Jones, again, who gives away a lot of size, but really took the wind out of his sails there and helped out by Moran. And Barrow start their set 20 metres away from their own line. Silva skips away from a couple of defenders. Still going forward here, Silva. Plays it on at the Barrow 30 eventually. Johnston fires the pass out to Bishop. Bishop, out it comes to Cresswell. Cresswell over the top pass to Broadbent, but it's a forward pass. It's got on the outside of his man, but it's been given forward. And it would have been interesting to see how that play unfolded, but the pass from Cresswell, I don't think there's any argument that that was forward. And Barrow, exactly what Paul Crary wouldn't have wanted after points. It's always important to get through your sets, but turning the ball over on just the second or third tackle and deep inside their own half, inviting Featherstone to go back on the attack, and the way that their attack has clicked so far in this game, you wouldn't bet against them scoring again. The scrum feed is 30 metres out. Hampshire digs into the line to Akins. Akins just had to reach back for it, and in the end comes back in field, content to take that tackle. Featherstone set up shop here, deep inside the Barrow half. Moran, dummies, trucks it forward again up to the 10. What have Featherstone got in response here? Out it comes for Reynolds. Reynolds, dummies, double pumps, gives it to Akins. That was clever play from the Featherstone 6, but well read on this occasion by Barrow. Akins plays it. Jones, out to Reynolds, centre field, gives it to Hampshire. Hampshire's met. A good tackle by Curtis Tier off the
Left edge there to close down the play. Pass comes out to Reynolds now on the right. Gives it to Addy. Addy dummies. Tries to go himself. Goes down 5 short of the try line. This will be the last one. Pass comes back in field for Reynolds. Reynolds digs the ball in behind the line for Hampshire. It's popped up for Hampshire, but he couldn't get his hand to it. And in the end, beats everybody over the dead ball line, and that will be a 7-tackle set. And Broadbent comes away with the ball, plays it on the 30. That will be 0 tackle. So Barrow with a chance to get themselves downfield here. 12 minutes of the second half gone, and another penalty going to Barrow here. So discipline, just a few lapses in discipline creeping in from Featherstone here. I make that the 3rd or 4th penalty with Barrow coming out of their own end, which will be something that Paul Cook won't be overly happy with. Side in complete control on the scoreboard, but inviting Barrow down the right end of the field from their perspective. Score remains Featherstone 36, Barrow 12. And off that tap restart, Barrow with a full set of 6 inside the Featherstone half. He's lost the ball there in the tackle, and it's given us a knock on. The very, very first play of the set. Ryan Brown, the man losing the ball. It was a thunderous challenge from Springer. The ball comes loose, and it's a turnover immediately. Barrow not giving themselves a chance with their ball security at times, but credit the defence from Featherstone there. Been very, very physical all the way through the game, and just a really strong shot, really big contact on the ground, forcing the ball loose. And Featherstone are rewarded with a scrum feed on their own 30. Scrum feed is won, Glover. Out it comes to Aikens. Aikens drops off Alforts. Alforts just takes the tackle 5 short of the halfway line. Been stung in that tackle a little bit, Alforts, but gets up to play it. Akawala backpedaling into Barrow territory, looking to get that arm free, but kept hold of it himself. Springer off Akawala. Vunny Iyawa, I beg your pardon, on. And a hell of a stint from Gadwin Springer. As Akawala now does come from the field. Beckett on back into the game, so Paul Cook just freshening up his front row, and Vunny Iyawa straight into the action. Takes the ball all the way up to Barrow's 20 now. Still a couple of tackles remaining here. Beckett does a little bit of ball playing out to Hampshire. Hampshire out, it comes to Aikens. Aikens dummies, tries to straighten things up himself. He's going to go close to the line here, Aikens. He's brought down a blade of grass short. Desperate stuff from Barrow. Last tackle. Pass comes out to Hampshire. Hampshire dinks the kick into the in-goal area, looking for Reynolds, who was looking for a second, and he couldn't quite get it down. It was very similar fashion to the first one, but this time not able to get the ball down in time before the dead ball area, the dead ball line. And Barrow have another 7-tackle set with Broadbent taking the tap, but he's driven back immediately there by Moran and Addy. Silva just trying to work his way downfield. Plays it 30 metres out. Robson plays it. Johnston gives it on to Walker. Walker through the middle of the field. Vunny Iyawa pulls him to ground with help from Moran on the halfway line. Still tackles in the bank for Barrow. Come over the halfway line now through Brown. Brown lands on his front. Doolan. Dummies. Picks up 5 or 6 metres after contact. And he will play the ball 30 metres away from the line. Bishop hoists the kick high. Testing one for Aikens. The ball's battered backwards into the arms of Johnston. Johnston fires the pass for Emsley, and Emsley's put to ground. Great defence on show there from Ben Reynolds. It's been a feature of Featherstone's game. No panic in defence. The ball was battered away from Aikens. A little bit of second phase for Barrow, but nobody panicked from Featherstone. There were plenty of blue jerseys in the picture to close it down, and they'll look to clear their line now. 16 minutes of the second half gone. Score remains Featherstone 36, Barrow 12, as Barrow concede a penalty now. And Featherstone with a rare chance to clear their line. And Hampshire finds touch on this near left side.
Featherstone will start their set 40 metres away from the Barrow try line. So golden opportunity to go on the attack once again. Webb, who was a try scorer in the first half, he's put to ground on the 30. First tackle. Moran just straightens things up. Been impressive in the middle of the field. Pat Moran on loan. 15 metres away from the line now, bang in front of the uprights. They come left through Reynolds. Reynolds fires the pass out to Glover. Glover cutting back through the middle, looking for the offload. Can't get his arm free, but will stand in the tackle. Jones out to Reynolds. Flat pass there for Beckett, who took it at pace, but good tackle down low there by Ellis Robson. Flat pass there for Vuniyayawa, who goes through untouched under the posts. And if it wasn't before, that was the try that surely seals the game for Featherstone. Brilliant bit of deception again there around the ruck. And Vuniyayawa, the gap just opened up for him in front of the posts, and he touches down under the sticks to take the scoreline now to Featherstone Rovers 40, Barrow Raiders 12. Featherstone, this kick will open up or re-establish their 30-point lead. And it came off the back of a penalty that Barrow conceded, allowing Featherstone to go on that attacking set. And lovely disguised play there around the ruck from Connor Jones. A lovely flat pass at the line. Vuniyayawa strolled through a massive gap, to the delight of the Featherstone faithful behind the sticks. And 40 points on the board already for Featherstone as Reynolds pilots the ball between the posts once again. Takes the scoreline now on FRTV to Featherstone Rovers 42, Barrow Raiders 12. So we approach the halfway point of the second half, and that's Vuniyayawa's 5th try in 17 appearances this season for Featherstone. And he's been very impressive. He was very impressive in the first half. Provided a try for Will Jubb early in the piece, so this time turned scorer. And Featherstone in complete control as we approach the final quarter of this one. Akins takes the kick off under his own post, gives it on to that man, the try scorer, Vuniyayawa, who takes some stopping once again up to the 20. Beckett standing in the tackle, taking Silver forward with him, and Doolan the best part of 10 metres on that carry after contact. Webb stutters and steps through the line there, trying to get his arm free, Clay Webb, and eventually put to ground 5 short of the halfway line. So they go right here through Hardcastle. Hardcastle is put to ground. 40 metres away from the Barrow line. Addy just straightens the attack now. Put to ground, 30 out now. Best part of 70 metres after the try once again from Featherstone on the last. Hampshire. Kick back through the middle of the field. He's caught everybody napping, but Bishop was there to clean up the crumbs, and he just manages to stay on the right side of the try line. But once again, Featherstone have Barrow coming off their own line as Toll tries to go wide. He's put to ground inside his 10. And interestingly enough, Paul Cook electing to take James Glover from the field. I think given the scoreline and the fact that he was hurt in that first half, seen fit to take him from the field. Connor Jones now operating what looks to be in the left centre, and a little bit of a reshuffle will Jubb back into the middle of the field. So Barrow come forward now through Cresswell. Cresswell keeps his arm off the floor, but he's picked up and put on the ground this time by Moran, and Barrow have only made 30 metres on their set. So they go wide again here, an untidy pass as Costello just chips it over himself, but taken on the full. In fact, it's knocked backwards by Alfords, who almost made a mess of that, but manages to keep hold of it and
And he's just told to go back and play the ball where he was held. The Featherstone players told to get back on side. I'm not really sure what the referee's waiting for here. The players are entitled to filter into the line after the play, but the referee insists on them getting back on side before players back underway, and eventually we restart through Hardcastle, who skipped away from the first man but was put on the ground there by Silver. 5 short of halfway, Alferts. Another big carry from him, put on the ground there by Costello. Quick play the ball for Jubb. Jubb fires the pass out for Reynolds. Reynolds trying to get around Bishop. Bishop does well to affect that tackle. Second go at the legs there. But the referee waves play on. Pass comes from Hampshire out to Aikens. Fires the ball out to Addy. Addy scheming, fires the pass back out to Hardcastle, who cuts back against the grain through the middle of the field. And Hardcastle just standing in the tackle, eventually brought to ground 40 metres out, beg your pardon. This will be the last one for Featherstone. Hampshire puts it high. Another testing one for Cresswell. Aikens takes it. Untidy offload for Addy, who toes it back on into back play here, and that's picked up by Tier. And Tier is going into touch here if he's not careful, and he is forced into touch on that far side. And Featherstone, through sheer will and want, manufacture another set of 6. The kick wasn't quite what they had planned, but it was what they did afterwards that was impressive. They just bundled Curtis Tier into touch after Danny Addy had kept the play alive. And Featherstone getting their just rewards for the intensity they're playing with. And will have an attacking set starting on the Barrow 10. 7 tries to their tally so far this afternoon, leading by 42 points to 12. We're inside the final quarter. Vuniyayawa, the most recent try scorer, will play it a couple of metres out. Jubb, out it comes to Hampshire. Hampshire takes the line on, but he's put to ground 5 metres away from the try line now. Jubb waits at acting half, gives it on to Moran. Moran had the defence going backwards, but he plays it quickly. Untidy play the ball as Barrow plays in the ruck. Out the ball comes now for Reynolds. Reynolds digs it to the line. Reynolds dummies and goes himself. He was just clipped, and he's gone down a metre short of the line. Desperate defence on show. Untidy pass. Couple of bounces picked up by Hampshire. They just need to settle things down here in this particular play. Aikens drops off Vuniyayawa. Vuniyayawa just does exactly that. Takes the ball under his wing. They just lost a little bit of momentum in that set. This will be the last one. 20 metres out. Reynolds puts it high. And Broadbent claims it well there and crabs across the field and beats a couple of defenders there. And really good play from the makeshift Barrow winger, it has to be said, to secure possession for his side. Tier spins his way up to the 20-metre line. 16 minutes of the game remaining on FRTV. It's Featherstone 42, Barrow 12. As Bullock trying to get his team going forward, he's put to ground 30 away from his own line. Smith, who's back on the field now, gives it to Johnston, who kicks early. Down the middle of the field, takes a couple of bounces, cut off on the 20 by Gale. Gale almost beat the first man, but Toll did a good job to bring him to ground with help from Tier. Hardcastle. Hardcastle put up the ground there. A little bit of afters on the ground, and eventually the penalty is given against Barrow for messing around on the play of the ball there. And the Featherstone fans on that far side weren't happy with the attention that Hardcastle was getting on the ground, and the referee jumped in to blow the penalty. And he's going to call Ryan Johnston over here. I think it's just to give a little bit of a word of warning, but no further punishment at this point. Hampshire finds touch on that right-hand side. Featherstone will start their set now. 5 metres into Barrow territory as Hardcastle runs straight back at Tier and finds the offload there for Addy, who drops it under pressure and that will be a knock on. In fact, he's given the ball back to Featherstone. He said that there was a Barrow hand in there. So perhaps a little bit fortuitous for the home side there as an untidy offload that put Addy under pressure. But going Featherstone's way, there was a Barrow hand in there, a Barrow knock on. So Featherstone will get the scrum 30 metres away from the line now with a chance to go back on the attack. So we're inside the final quarter of an hour here at the Millennium Stadium. Barrow will have to defend their line once again. Featherstone full of attacking flair as the pass comes out for Jones. And Reynolds has been left on the ground there in back play, and it will be a penalty as Reynolds is stayed on the ground. It was Bishop, the man who tackled in opposite number. And when play resumes, it will be a Featherstone penalty once again. Referee just Scott Mikalauskis in consultation with his touch judge at the minute. Be interesting to see whether there's any further action here. That obviously been a big crackdown on late hits on players, particularly playmakers in 2025. Reynolds is thankfully back on his feet. Just has a word across the bow to his opposite number, Bishop, just exchanging a few pleasantries there. And the referee isn't going to take this any further. It will just be a penalty. The tap, get the game back underway. Moran. He's played big minutes off the bench. Hasn't had a break yet in the second half. Plays it 30 out. Vuniyayawa. Plays it 15 away now from the line. Beckett straightens up the line and tries to get himself inside the 10. He's still going forward here, Jimmy Beckett's refusing to go down with 3 defenders around him. Does ever so well. Jubb skips out a dummy half, looking to pinch one himself. Can he get to the line? He's over the line, but he's held up. And you have to credit some desperate goal line defence there from Barrow. As the gap opened up for him briefly, but not able to get the ball on the ground in the in-goal area. Play resumes 10 metres out, Hampshire. For Vuniyayawa. Vuniyayawa still going, trying to get to the line. He was reaching for the line and he's lost it, and it's propelled over the dead ball line. And another 7-tackle set coming for Barrow. Get the quick tap restart, and Tier is levelled in the tackle there from Webb. What a shot that was from the Rovers back rower. And Jubb replies in kind there with a tackle on Broadbent. 2 big shots coming in from Featherstone. And Silver trying to get things moving in the right direction for Barrow after 2 physical contacts there. Really slow play of the ball. 5 shot at the halfway line. Make it about 11 minutes of the game remaining. Johnston gives it out to Bullock. Bullock almost gave himself up there, has to take the tackle. He's lost the ball there one-on-one. And it's going to be a penalty against Featherstone here. The referee ruling there was 2 men in the tackle. It's a bit of an unusual play really there, because Bullock had effectively had to give himself up to avoid giving away an obstruction penalty, and then Webb took the odds to it, thought there was 1 man in the tackle and stripped the ball, and the referee ruling he'd done so illegally. So Barrow find touch here and have a set starting 25 away from the Featherstone line. Pass comes to Bishop. On it goes now to Bullock. Bullock just manoeuvring his way up to the 20-metre line. First tackle for Barrow. Johnston digs into the line, gives it out to Cresswell. Cresswell cuts back in field, only finds Vuniyayawa in defence, who's been everywhere for Featherstone in the middle today. Johnston digs into the line to Bishop. Nice pass out to Emsley. Emsley juggled it himself and allowed Webb and Jones to regroup in defence and bring him to ground 5 short. And he's lost the ball at the play the ball there, Aaron Smith. And that just about sums up Barrow's afternoon. Unable to sustain any real pressure. Featherstone's defence, scramble defence has been good. But there's been one too many of those frustrating errors for Barrow.
That one coming from Aaron Smith.
And who spent a little bit of time at Featherstone, of course. Short spell, but he'd like that moment over again. But 9 minutes of the game remaining. Featherstone 42, Barrow 12. And Featherstone will climb into the playoff places. At the conclusion of this game, they'll overtake Halifax Panthers, who lost yesterday. As Hardcastle attracting plenty of attention from Barrow defenders, but just keeps driving forward, as does this man Moran, who's put on the ground on the Featherstone 40. Jubb comes left to Addy. Addy keeps hold of it, and he's just put to ground there by Bullock.
And there's a bit of pushing and shoving in back play here as Webb goes after Bishop. Not sure what happened there, but players coming together again. I don't know whether something was said or... And it's been bubbling for a few minutes now. A few sets of 6. Bishop having a few words to say to the Featherstone players, and this time Webb just coming after him in back play. And don't think there was any punches or anything thrown, but the referee will just stop and untangle all of this. The play was happening in the middle of the field, and then just saw Webb in back play come after Bishop, and like I said, nothing more than a bit of shirt grabbing, I don't think, but not sure what's happened or what was said there, but the referee will just have to unpack this, and we'll just pause for a moment. But as I said, Featherstone on course for one of their most dominant wins of the season, and against 5th place Barrow. The referee is going to sin bin Bishop here. In fact, he's not. He's going to send him off. I'm not sure what's been said or what's happened, but Bishop obviously said something that the referee has deemed to be completely unreasonable, and Alex Bishop is sent off with 9 minutes of this game remaining. And that just compounds what's been a disastrous afternoon for Barrow. And he had no hesitation, so I'm not sure exactly what has happened or what was said, or didn't see anything like physical happening. Must have been something that he said. But we'll wait to see what happens in terms of the judiciary in the days following this. But yeah, Alex Bishop shown the red card with 8 or so minutes to go here. And Featherstone will play against 12 men for the rest of this game. It's worth noting actually in the last couple of minutes that Ben Reynolds has been taken from the field again. Paul Cook choosing to give him an early mark with the game well and truly wrapped up. Not often they've had the luxury of being able to do so, just putting Reynolds on ice. 18-point haul for the afternoon for Reynolds. 7 from 7 conversions and a try to boot, and the game back underway now. Beckett will play it 20 out. Jubb waits at acting half. Out it comes to Hampshire. Hampshire fires the pass back to the left to Addy. Addy out to Webb. Webb cuts back in field. He's put on the ground there, 10 metres away from the line. Addy. Flat pass there for Beckett. Beckett almost lost it in the contact there. Did really well to keep hold. Under the attention of Bullock. Pass comes out now to Hampshire. Hampshire, flat pass for Hardcastle. Hardcastle's stopped and dropped inside the 10, and another penalty coming in here, and they're really losing their rag here, Barrow. Well down on the scoreboard, down to 12 men, and giving away another penalty. So the game just starting to unravel a little bit in terms of discipline. Featherstone just need to make sure they're not drawn into this. The tap restart. Vuniyawa off the penalty. Had Moran with him, kept hold of it himself.
And Featherstone had another try here to finish with a flourish. Jubb out to Hampshire. Hampshire spins, pirouettes completely, fires the pass. It's picked off by Broadbent, and Broadbent has been a bit of a shining light for Barrow in this second half. Playing out of position after they lost Ritson in the first half, but picks off another pass and really snuffles out the danger once again. Big, tall, rangy outside back. See what Hampshire was trying to do, trying to loft the pass over to the wing, but he couldn't get it over his head. And Broadbent comes again now with another carry. But he's put to ground by Jubb. About 5 minutes of the game remaining here. Featherstone 42, Barrow 12. And the majority of the damage done in the first half, where Featherstone raced out to a 30 points to 6 lead and heading for a crucial win in the context of their season. As I say, results panning out that they will move into the top 6 off the back of this as Smith gets back a pass perhaps fortuitously and passes it into the path and picks it up again. I've never seen anything quite like that. He tried 2 different passes. Both were knocked down by Featherstone players. He ended up picking it up. It doesn't matter anyway now as Broadbent just knocks on from dummy half. And that brings to the end a really quite bizarre passage of play there. I don't think I've ever seen a player pass to the opposition twice, get the ball back twice and make nearly 30 metres on the play. As Danny Addy is announced as the man of the match. And hard to argue with that. He's been absolutely excellent. Produced a few real quality touches to lead to tries, and having to move into the right edge back row in the first half due to that unfortunate injury to Leon Ruan. And off the back of that scrum, it comes out to Aikens. Aikens has got pace, but Tier does well on the inside to bring him to ground, but not before he's made 20 metres or so, and they're well inside the Barrow half now. Akawala on for the final few minutes. Spinning in traffic, still going Akawala. Dominant display off the bench. Plays it 20 out. Moran. Out it comes to Addy, who spun to the ground there in the tackle from Costello. Slow play of the ball. Aikens to Hampshire. Hampshire gives it on to Jones. Jones looking to get that arm free, and he's eventually put to ground 10 metres out, 2 metres in from this left touchline. Slow play of the ball again here. Hampshire off his right foot gives it back to Alfords, trying to catch the defence napping on this edge, but Barrow have got players into the tackle there, and Alfords plays it, or will play it, sorry, on the last. Hampshire. It's the kick out looking for chasers. Akawala's picked it off. Has he got the ball down, Akawala? He certainly got hands to the ball. Did he get it down? He did, as the referee awards the try. And a spectacular end to what has been a magnificent performance for Featherstone. A great kick from Ryan Hampshire across the field. There were 3 or 4 men in the picture there, but Akawala, the big front rower, got his hands above his head, plucked it out of the air, and as he was heading down to the ground, managed to get it down. And what a try that is for Featherstone, who now lead Barrow by 46 points to 12. And it'll be Ryan Hampshire with the conversion attempt here. Guides the ball between the posts with very little problems. Takes the scoreline now to Featherstone Rovers 48, Barrow Raiders 12. And a rare try for Akawala, an off-season signing from Toulouse. Been one of his best performances of the season so far for Rovers. Punching holes off the bench, and this time in an unorthodox position, plucking kicks out of the air to score in the in-goal area. And that really underlines what's been a really impressive performance from Paul Cook's side. We're in the final couple of minutes here at the Millennium Stadium. Barrow will have to regroup. And the short kick-off attempt, it's beaten Danny Addy there. The bounce was awful for the captain. And Barrow, 2 from 2 for the short kickoffs, getting it back as McMillan dived on the ball. And Bullock comes back through the field. So Barrow with an opportunity here to maybe have the final say. The game completely gone, of course, but they may have the last say on the scoreboard as Brown is met. A good strong tackle there by Bunyayawa. And a quick play of the ball for Smith. Smith looking to dart to the line, and he's put to ground a metre out there. Akawala in there to finish off that tackle. Comes back through the middle to Costello. Costello beats the first man, kicking behind the line here. Alforts punts it out of the ground and into the residential housing behind. And it will be a goal line dropout. And Vuniyayawa just receiving some attention from the physio, and I'm not surprised actually. It was a very heavy contact that he made a couple of tackles ago, and he did look a little bit shaken up afterwards, so I won't be surprised if he has to come off here. So just pause to take a breath here again. Now he's okay, cleared by the physio to carry on. Takes his place. They go for the short one. It's a wobbly old kick. McMillan traps it with his feet, does well. Jones has to put him to ground. As I said, inside the final few minutes here. Johnston puts the kick in behind the line, looking for Toll, and that just beats everybody into touch, and a really underwhelming kick from Johnston. See what he was trying to do, but the execution was poor. And didn't really give his chasers any chance there, and just beats everybody over that far touchline, and Featherstone will take over possession here. Jubb just takes the ball himself. Try scorer in that first half. Alforts has worked extremely hard back in the side after missing the last two. As has this man, Moran has been excellent. Long minutes in the middle of the field. As the siren sounds there, which brings an end to what has been a thoroughly dominant and important performance from Featherstone, who came into the game knowing that they would be in touching distance of the 6 with a good result, and they turned in one of their best performances of the season. They led by 30 points to 6 at half-time, thanks to 5 tries in the first half. Gareth Gale, Will Jubb, Ben Reynolds, Clay Webb and James Glover getting his first of 2 for the afternoon. Had them in complete control. They picked up where they left off after half-time, with James Glover bagging his second of the game, before Matty Costello responded for Barrow's only score of the second half. But in the end, Featherstone clicked into gear once again, adding 2 more tries. The King Vuniyayawa and Sitawaleki Akawala, either side of Alex Bishop, the Barrow standoff, being sent off for some sort of altercation with Clay Webb late in the piece, which compounded a frustrating afternoon for the visitors. But Featherstone, absolutely dominant. And as you can see, the results around the championship, Featherstone winners by 48 points to 12. Oldham 22-0 winners over Widnes. And the Sheffield Eagles going down by 32 points to 6 at the hands of York, who really are in some form, York Knights. And if you look at what that's done to the table, as I mentioned earlier, it brings Featherstone onto 16 points in that all-important 6th playoff position. They've leapfrogged Halifax and now sit just 1 competition point behind today's opponents, Barrow, as things are really tightening up. And we're inside the final 10 games of the regular season. As we look at Rovers' next 5 fixtures, they're away to bottom of the table Hunslet next week, before a tricky away trip in France to Toulouse. And that's followed by home game against London, trip to Mount Pleasant to play Batley, and then away, a really important game there, Doncaster, fellow playoff rivals, away from home. And the next 5 games will go a long way to shaping up Paul Cook and his side's season. But as it is at full time here at the Millennium Stadium, Featherstone have come out worthy winners. They move into the championship playoff positions. Full time at the Millennium Stadium, it's finished. Featherstone Rovers 48, Barrow Raiders 12. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.